Welcome to the BRR Show. My name is Oluwatobi Shola Abiola. The BRR Show is a show where we discuss business, relationships, and real-life issues. Stay with us. Let's go on a break. When we return, we'll dive into the conversation for today. Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to the BRR Show. As individuals, we realize that a lot of us are still not maximizing our potentials. There are lots of deposits that we have within us, but we're unable to unlock them due to many factors. On the show today, we have Coach Adeoye Abodurin, and he'll be here to guide us into this conversation. Thank you for coming, Coach D.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. Great work you're doing on the BRR show, and I'm excited about the conversation this afternoon.
Okay, so very quickly, we'll dive into the conversation. There are lots of people living on Earth today that are yet to maximize their potentials.
Yep.
Why would that even be a reason for many people not to be able to maximize their potentials?
Well, there's no human being, and this word of been underlined. There's no human being on earth who will, at the time they are departing, fulfill all their potentials. None.
Wow. Okay.
None. Now that's worth pondering on. There is sufficient scientific research about the powers of our abilities. They are super abnormally high. We are gifted as human beings at very incredible levels. All the sciences and all of the bodies of research will agree with this point. For example, just think about, just Google the pixelation of your eyes, the pixel level of the camera that's in your eyes. How much physical cash you will buy that level of camera for.
Okay. If
at all, that camera is even at all available in the market today, how much would it be? It will shock you remarkably how much money you are carrying about every day as pair of equipment to see. The ease with which you zoom at long distance and close distance, even if you were to have astigmatism or any of those things, it's amazing the way your brain coordinates your eyesight and then responds at the spot of the moment. I know many people who drive, and yes, they drive, and they probably they're far-sighted, so there are problems with near objects. The reaction, the way you're easily able to react, try and attempt to have a robot do that kind of change of reaction if it's driving. It's going to be a lot of chaos and a lot of years of research and programming. The bigger point is that we are incredibly gifted. What about the skeletal systems of our body, the reproductive systems, the digestive systems, digestive organs in our digestive system? Remarkably gifted human beings we are. We are very gifted. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that exposure is very powerful. Exposure is very, very powerful. The tragedy of life is that before many of us got to meet ourselves, we met our parents.
Okay.
So a lot of potential is lost by the way we are indoctrinated or socialized into existence. You met your dad and your mom, so you never met your real self. Now that's very deep. So we have a huge gap again. So part of us, in quotes, lost. Then after your parents, you begin to meet society or your extended family. Again, another part of you buried forever. Then all these things begin to shape you and conform you to their own adequacies, competencies, incapabilities, fallibilities, and their own strengths and their own advantages. Again, some of the baby or the child is lost. And all through life, you start now, okay, you want to go to school now. What course do you study? Again, you're constrained to the nuisance of society.
Absolutely.
There was a time when it was law, medicine, and engineering in Nigeria and Africa. And then gradually you now have the sciences. So you're also constrained again by the external, which is what's available, what lessons are available, who is available to teach you what. All of those constraints are far too powerful far too strong, far too abnormal. So the average person, by the time you're in adulthood and then you approach the first self-awareness training program or coach, is typically at the crisis moment. So there are
my
people who are
goodness.
50, some who have given birth to all their children, some who never ever met themselves. Never ever met themselves. Maybe the last time they were themselves was the day they were born. And from that day, their sleeping time, their habits, all through life up to that point of crisis, when they now saw a coach who said, you need to know yourself, your self-awareness, then all of a sudden, we begin to have those kinds of interesting moments of discovery.
Okay.
So there's a whole system in place, a whole conspiracy of humanity that will ensure that we never meet ourselves. And this is very, very, very sad. But the good news is the day you discover that you need to start the journey of meeting yourself and self-awareness. That's the first place that potential discovery starts from. Who really am I? Who am I? Who am I? Despite all my upbringing and all of that. There are some persons who I meet in my practice, their real persons are locked in their subconscious. It's not even in their consciousness. All the conscious years, since age 1 up till the day I met them, probably by 35, 40, 45, 50, they never met themselves. And so the first place is self-awareness. Who are you beyond what you've been told about yourself? I mean, just imagine, there's some deep, deep dimensions to this conversation. So, for example, the question of meaning, for example.
Okay.
The question of meaning. What does what mean to you? Representational systems. So if you grew up in a French-speaking home, your level of awareness and the way you are aware is different from someone that grew up in an English-speaking home. In French, there is masculine and feminine of everything.
Everything, yes.
There's masculine chair, feminine chair, masculine shoe, feminine shoe, masculine bag, feminine bag. It's a whole lot of, it's another level of meaning and awareness. But if you grew up in an English-speaking home and someone says there's a masculine chair, you're going to look at the person like, you're crazy. They need to give you room in Yaba, where they keep psychiatric patients. What's going on is that language is a house for culture and meaning. So a child who grew up in a French-speaking home is much more aware in terms of gender sensitivity, in terms of, okay, this is masculine and that is feminine. This is but in English, it's mono. So there's some level of awareness and meaning that someone that grew up in terms of this narrow conversation, using this as a case study of masculine and feminine, you will never understand it if you're raised in an English home or a language or a culture where there's no emphasis pertaining to things around whether it's feminine or masculine. There's a level of clarity that will be alien to you if you were not raised in a German home. The German language is straight. They speak very straight. They speak little and very straight. There's no flowery, there's no overburdened poetry, there's no nuance, there's no extra shades of meaning. The German literature is straight between intention and meaning, the gap, so it's very, very minimized. So if you meet someone that was raised in Germany or that was raised in a German home, their understanding of meaning is close to reality. There's no nuance. But the English language, for example, just the next door neighbor has loads of nuances, loads of idiomatic expressions that have no bearing with what you are talking about.
Okay.
Now, from a developmental standpoint, the child who is raised that way in Germany has some capabilities, and why the other one raised in the English language or raised in England has some other capabilities too. So the point I'm making is that there is a whole conspiracy of culture upbringing, and you need to find yourself by being self-aware so that you know even the inadequacies that you have as a person. So that's the first place to start from.
You speak about self-awareness, but then I'm quite intrigued as to how this conversation is tilting towards. Now we say self-awareness, but we see that even being self-aware means that you're clouded by a lot of things. So how do you isolate yourself from those things that have shaped you in becoming who you are to really now begin to be self-aware?
You need to start an intentional journey. it must be intentional. And being intentional means you lose the fear to be. Many people are running away from themselves. And remember, there's a whole conspiracy, a whole big conspiracy hiding you from you. Like I described, from the day you were born, you never met yourself. The tragedy of life is that you met your parents before you met you. Before you began to say, this is who I am, you actually met your parents. So there's a huge level of conspiracy. Because of that, you must cut through the chase by a deliberate intentionality. One, you must, as a matter of fact, get help in knowing yourself. You must go after it. After you have lost the fear, of course, I want to know myself anyway. What if you meet what you don't like? I don't care.
Exactly.
I just want to meet myself.
Exactly.
What if the real me had been swept under the carpet for years? I just want to meet myself. And if you meet a good coach, a guide or a coach or a helper who can help you unravel yourself, there's no one who has met themselves that are not excited at what they saw.
Really?
Yes. There's nobody created. There's been no human design that is originally not beautiful. There's no human creation, none, by original design that is not very, very, very exciting to meet. In fact, what you will meet is far bigger, far more beautiful, far more exciting than your current existence. That your current existence will always be at subpar compared to your original creation. You will always find that fault. No matter how beautiful your current existence is, you must now lose the fear of the current beauty you have or the current sadness you have about the outcomes of your life and be willing to enter that room. Because the brightness of the light there can actually damage your eyes. And there are many people who will be like the ostrich. And anytime they foray too deep into themselves, they have to come back again to reality. They foray too deep. So you must lose the fear and the inhibition, because at the end of the day, life will be far more beautiful if you're able to find yourself. I think it was a famous poet, let me just look for a quote, Marianne Williamson, who said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. That's the quote in Aquila the Bee, the spelling bee. It said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Wow. I think this is a good place to go on a commercial break. When we return, we'll continue with the conversation. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to the BRR show. Before we went on the break, we read a quote by Marianne Williamson, and Coach David was about to dive into that quote, dissecting it bit by bit. Over to you, Coach David.
Yes, Marianne Williamson did a brilliant work, and there are conversations that come from the soul, and it takes the soul to listen to them. If you listen with the external pinnae, you're not going to hear the spirit behind the conversation, because every conversation has a spirit speaking. Now, so the spirit behind the conversation was me trying to encourage everyone to dive into themselves. This is also the same quote in the movie Coach Carter, when Samuel L. Jackson was encouraging those young boys. Same in Aquila the Bee, Aquila the spelling bee. Again, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Many of us, first of all, wake up thinking that we misunderstand even our fears. Many of us think that maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I'll make a mistake. Maybe I'll fall. Maybe I'll falter. Maybe this, maybe that. Those things are temporary. They're ephemeral. The real big deal is that we are actually powerful beyond measure. The reason why we don't want to foray into much, many of us, behind that comfort zone syndrome, is that you don't want to be dragged into more. You already have enough to bite. That's why people stay in their jobs. That's why people take the choices they do. If we were to open up the hood and begin to fiddle with their buttons, many times you're going to find out that they don't really like how much money they are earning or how much results they have, but they rather choose the comfort and the allure of the bed. Change happens the moment when the comfort of the bed is small in comparison with the brightness of the day. You'll get up. Once the comfort of the bed in weight is small to your emotions and your internal reward systems compared to the reward of standing up, you stand up. If I say, for example, tomorrow morning, come and get 10 million naira, there's no spirit, there's no late coming, there's no demon. You probably won't be able to sleep overnight. The bed becomes totally. So what she's saying there is that our best fear really is that we are powerful beyond measure. The reason why you're not standing up in the morning and you need an alarm clock to wake you up is that you are actually thinking that this bed is comfortable. So we need to lose the fear of the lion on the road. And that fear can only be lost if we realize how powerful we are and the size of the strength of the courage of what is inside us begin to motivate us rather than the pull of the outside. The strength of what is within us must begin to pull us more than what is on the outside. So what's on the outside is status quo, what is seen today, and this present world was formed from what was not seen. For everything that we can see was formed from the invisible. So the unseen realities within us must drive us at every point in time beyond the strength of what we have in our hands. That is the place to start from. The curiosity, the courage to be, the courage to look for what is within us, and the habit of never losing sight on a daily, monthly, weekly basis of what can be. Now this introduces some restlessness.
Exactly.
It introduces some wondering.
Yes, people will be like, today you're doing this one, tomorrow is it because you're finding yourself? I mean, society would expect that one follows a particular path of life. And then when you're doing a lot of things and then in that bit to discover yourself or being aware of yourself, it may sound confusing to a lot of people. So how do we balance that out?
Remember that the same society will punish you very severely if you ever go out of fashion based on you doing what they expect consistently. Typists were like that. They were typing, holding international conference of typewriters until they went out of vogue. And society actually, if you don't change your cloth, if you don't change, the same society is not going to be very easy with you. You must, and it's your journey and it's your life. We must remember, how did we get into this quagmire? Society. Daddy and mommy, family and relative, society, like that. The tragedy of life, don't forget, is that before you even met yourself, the tragedy of life, before you even met yourself, you had already met your parents and they had installed into you who they wanted you to be, their own aspirations and their future and everything. Be that as it may, there's something called design congruence. There's nobody who is made who does not have some form of congruence. It is you. If you sit down and you really were to get a guided coach again to help you look at the timelines of your life, you find that there's consistency in your inner desires, thoughts, motivation, the principle of the dominant desire per time. If you were to plot a graph of your dominant desire per time and write it in a journal on a daily basis for 6 months, then pick the journal, wake up in the morning, what's my dominant desire today? Write it down. In the evening, write it down. Journal your dominant desires for 6 weeks. You will find as a central theme.
Wow.
Because you're one human being. You can do it for years. You eventually find that you are circulating the same thing. The dominant pictures in your soul don't change easily. They are there, hard-coded. If you're one human being, the congruence of it, don't bother about that. If you're living authentically from your design, it will always hit the same marks, the same cluster of maps. In terms of accuracy and precision, you'll be hitting the same zone continuously, even though you're not guided. I mean, if you check your journals of 10 years, 15 years, just look at your journals, experiences, and check now. There's a lot of similarity you find because that is your predominant design. And so that fear that you don't want to be out of consistency or out of fashion should not actually drive you. What should drive you should be the plan or the desire to be authentic to yourself. And then she said, our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. That if you dedicate ourselves to this internal journey, we are powerful beyond measure. I'm yet to meet a human being that's not powerful beyond measure, including those that are neurologically challenged. People are remarkably powerful. But again, the systems and structures and infrastructure to help you find the powers that we have are truncated. And one of them is actually success. When people are very successful, they really are fed up. Fed up, meaning that they are full and they are fed up. They don't listen to new things. They don't explore new things. They don't go for new courses. They're already there. So why should they drop us working? Because their bank accounts are fat. Now, those kinds of things, we need to begin to change narrative because the richest of the richest are rich enough to explore themselves. That's what's going on. Okay. So we must lose the fear of not wanting to explore and see ourselves. So it is our light, not our darkness. So everyone has a measure of light. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. A lot of us are really afraid to shine. There's a feeling that maybe the bulb, maybe the incandescent material inside the bulb will explode.
This is the part where I need to tell you, off your mic, sir. Just off your mic. Because, I mean, a lot of us can relate with what you just said. I mean, even the crew in the room, they're signaling and saying that's true. Why though?
Yeah, remember the planet fell. The planet fell. Originally, we were designed to shine ever so brightly, but the planet fell. And when people are used to dim light, and all of a sudden you come with very bright light, you are singled out for attack. Everybody would just say, lower your light, lower your light, lower your light. You dress too loud. Different things that people would say. It's because we are used to a lower level of light. And when you come in so bright, you're going to be fought for it. You're going to be fought for it. And what's happening, we are all victims of dimness. And we are all afraid of our lights. But you must shine your shine. We must create a planet where you shine my shine and I shine my shine. Now, it's very difficult because people also light comparing. When the lights are all very, very giant, nobody begins to compare. We need to get to the point, and that's why you must select your company.
Absolutely.
You must select people who help you to shine your light and who encourage you to shine your light from the soul. And they also are not afraid of your light and vice versa. You can encourage them to shine. They can encourage you to shine. We live in a planet where people are full of comparison. There's certainly comparison intelligence. In fact, it's so serious that some people only succeed by comparative intelligence. The only way they win is when there's somebody to compete against. Once there's nobody to compete against, they don't know how to win.
Okay.
They don't, seldom do people, a lot of people say, my competition is not true. Many people are not competing against themselves. What they knew yesterday is still what they knew yesterday. They're not rising up today because they want to beat what they did yesterday. But once there's somebody who does something that's bigger than you, then you are now supposed to do it. Now, that is actually a failed mechanism, a falling mechanism, or a failed approach to getting ahead in life. You should actually be aiming to do a little better Kaizen than you did yesterday. So, many people are using comparison of light. The problem with comparison of light is that when greater lights come, smaller lights begin to fight. When everyone's supposed to tune up their lights gradually and become one bright, big planet. No. People are, when you're too bright in a place, you create attention. When originally design is that you are a city that is set upon a hill. One person was described as a city. A city has amenities, has police, has firefighter. You understand? A city that is set upon a hill. He said, you are the light of the world, the salt of the earth. So the world and the earth are two different things. So light to the earth and salt to the world. Now, this salt is not for small soup. Salt that will be for the whole world cannot be for, you understand? And if you are the light of the world, it's a global light.
Okay.
So there's 8 billion people to shine to. So this comparison, and we are all created as lights in the galaxy. But the way people deal with bright lights is to shut them down, particularly in Africa. They are full of comparison and bitterness. Once people cannot engineer their lights up to yours or do something that will also be equal, they get very bitter. Now, those are very, very wicked things that have happened to the planet. And everyone who is on a light journey must understand I'm light and I shine brightly. And I always acknowledge your light and you too, you are shining brightly. Is there a way I can help you to shine? By the way, this woman concludes by saying there's nothing enlightening about us shrinking. Because when we shine our light, we give others permission to do same.
Absolutely.
So the essence is that you must be ready to go on the journey. And it's a long journey, and some of it is discouraging. You're going to hear things like, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with her? Is he the only one? Is she the only one? Why is she always everywhere? Why is he always everywhere?
Yeah.
If you decide to now begin to dim your lamp or the size of your lights because of what they are saying and their comparisons, you are not doing the planet any good. Remember where we started from? No human being will eventually be able to shine all of their light in a whole lifetime. So you must have the courage, as you are discovering yourself, to shine your light. The courage to shine. There's the courage to be. There's also the courage to shine despite criticisms. In fact, prepare for criticisms because it will be loud. The louder it is, there's no one who has not been criticized. No big look. Jeff Bezos is being criticized. Bill Gates is being criticized. I mean, people are forming all sorts. People say they have, and look, darkness can make up darkness. So just sit down and just form a lie. If you still get hot, I want to say, but she's a useless person, or she's a useless person, or she's everywhere. And there are many names that people call people. You must not allow those things to deter you. Have you seen where the rain is falling? And because of people's opinion, it refuse to fall. You see, the messengers of the planet give us message. The earth is there. If you like, refuse to step on it. If you like, step on it. The earth is there. Breeze is blowing. No one knows where it's going, where it's coming from. You understand? But the wind blew it where it listed. Where it has listed, where the wind has listed. You know, that's the meaning of that scripture. The wind blew it where it listed. Where the wind has listed, so there's in the morning, the wind has a list. Say, I will blow past Ali Avenue. From there, we'll blow to Oduelegba. From there, we take a detour on top of the Atlantic Ocean. Then we circulate back to Russia. Then we come back to Lagos. It's going. No, even though you don't know where it's going or where it's coming from, the wind is blowing. So the wind blow it where it listed. Where have you listed? Where have you also listed or listed? Blow. Hi. The messengers of the planet are telling us, like the wind, the sun will come out at its time. Oh, the sun is too heavy. It's 40 degrees Celsius. Oh, the moon is not bright today. It's half. This moon is not in a good mood this month. It's half. Doesn't care what you say. The stars are there doing their work. So those messengers are teaching us consistency. In fact, it's very powerful. I think it's one of the Psalms 19, Psalm number 19, who said, for there's no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Say for the sun. He said it's for the sun. And there's no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Now, someday the sun will shine brightly. Everybody will be complete on the planet. He's shining. And everyone is in his folly. And we must be comfortable with our weaknesses. Oh, I don't want people to know me because I'm weak in this area. The sun is shining. There's no speech or language. So there's a difference between speech and language. So there's no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Even though in some languages they are babbling. In some languages they are not happy. There's some countries in the world where the sun will appear like that and then go down this way. In Africa, it's on top of us. It comes that way and then we can see it. But some countries will be looking at it. And sometimes the moon is actually weak, it's half. Sometimes it's quarter. At the end of the day, it doesn't care. He's doing his work. So you must develop the resilience to ignore people.
Okay, so developing the resilience to ignore people. I mean, so this episode
is... Embrace your weakness.
Embrace your weakness too.
It doesn't matter how many people see your weakness. It's part of your light. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. They will do all over. There's no speech or language on the earth. They are just shining. They are shining. Even though they are weak at that time, it's fine.
I mean,
even though the moon at times will be 1/4 of its size. At times, so that this will be
still showing up.
This you feel emotionally down. You're not happy. You had a mistake. There's a problem in your marriage. Problem with your children. It doesn't matter. Shine.
Okay, so this is a good place to say to our audience: shine irrespective. Keep shining, and I hope that you've learned a lot of things today. This is one episode that I would encourage that you listen to over and over again. So we'll come your way again next time. Stay blessed and stay lifted. My name again is Oluwatobi Shola Abiola.